Good afternoon. Sit. नहीं ये तो ये चेक नहीं करेंगे, रख लो. बस मुझे बताओ क्या क्या लिखा है. Any one person. Oh, online people shared. I will check only online copies. लगाओ. मतलब they have put in so much effort. At the end, you can compress your complete notes of Nyaya into 1 or 2 pages. Khatam. This is the last 2 or 3 pages that you have to revise. क्या लिखें? ये तो अपने आप ही बनाने चाहिए. शो वेरी गुड. शाबाश. फिलॉसफी बैकग्राउंड क्या? नहीं. वेरी गुड. ये दिखाओ कैसे दिखेगा इस पे. What is Anuman and its types? Very simple, very simple. And this is how the answer is to be written. Don't invent. Don't feel like, so after you will write it 2-3 times, na, you will feel like, यही थोड़े ना लिखेंगे बार बार, है ना. You start feeling very bored. That Purvadanvan, Shishmadanvan, Samanatadarash. Yes, but this is what you have to write, and this is what has to be written. Fine. This makes philosophy easy. Don't unnecessarily complicate it. Compare it with can you see such good copies? Aren't they very good copies? Very good. In the introduction itself, inductive, deductive. Examiner is impressed. Why? इसे inductive, deductive पता है, तो बाकी तो सब पता ही होगा. Chart format. Very interesting. Very visible. A lot of, what do you say, saving of space. Very nice representation. Very good, बच्चों. Not exactly cognition, but it's okay. Very good. In last answer, this was missing. किसकी copy है? Whose copy is this? Ashutosh. Very good, Ashutosh. Very good. What is the problem? A little presentation, cutting, है ना? space, मतलब presentation is not very appealing, but otherwise the content is okay. When you are writing like this, either highlight it or either write it like this. This saves lot of space. So much wastage of. This could be done like this, isn't it? And that is why the space is finished and also time is finished. Therefore, the answer is fine. Okay. Let us move ahead. After doing 3-4 readings, what kind of notes you can make? We will see. इतने फोल्डर बना लिए आप लोगों ने और खुद ही नहीं मिल रहा, कहाँ डाल दिया? Of course, the person who has written these notes will be able to understand better. You will not be able to utilize it. है ना? So don't try to उससे लेके photostat करा लेंगे. है ना? You can't use it because a person has done these notes according to what they remember, and they have written only what they are missing. Your missing pieces may be different. है ना? So don't run after this man के please मेरे को अपने notes दे दे, मैं ये करूँ. Make your own notes. Fine. Can you see? सांख्य, arguments, proofs, criticism, प्रकृति, ये सारी चीजें आ गई हैं इसके अंदर. बहुपुरुषवाद, ये पुरुष से एसोसिएटेड सारा आ गया. Then criticism, evolution, liberation, Sankhya chart, God, all the things have been there. Jivan Mukti, Videha Mukti, all things are here. This means at the end, when you will have to revise, how many pages will you have to revise at the end? So when you will go for your mains, how many pages for the first paper? Some 40-50. Only that much you can revise in your last day. Can you revise 200-300 pages? No. Only this much pages you can revise. So these are your concrete notes which you revise at the end. Clear? Okay. Continue. So last time what we have written? Keval Anvay only. We haven't written Keval Vyatireki? Okay. नहीं लिखवाया था मैंने. लिख. केवल व्यतिरेकी. अच्छा, we just started केवल अन्वयी. Okay, basically these notes are fine. है ना? यही लिखवा दूं दोबारा या यहाँ से देख लोगे? यहीं से देख लोगे? Read it once. केवल अन्वयी, केवल व्यतिरेकी. It is just in the last one. You just corrected. Wherever there is no fire, there is no smoke. Just correct that. Apart from that, all else is okay. Read it. Tell me if there is any problem. हो तो. Fine. Okay, next heading, right? व्याप्ति. ये बना लेना है ना कि केवल अन्वयी, केवल व्यतिरेकी और अन्वयी व्यतिरेकी को बना लेना अपनी कॉपीज में. What is vyapti? Yes, vyapti लिख लो. Vyapti is the universal, necessary, unconditional, concomitant relation between hetu and sadhya. Because question can come directly on vyapti also, no? Second point, vyapti is the logical ground or nerve center for inference. Vyapti is the logical ground or nerve center for inference. Full stop. Inference is dependent on the knowledge of vyapti. Bracket में डाल लिख के put a bracket and like paksh dharmata. So along with vyapti you also need paksh dharmata. So in bracket you can write plus paksh dharmata. Third, literally vyapti means pervasion. Literally vyapti means pervasion. That is smoke. That is smoke. In bracket you write hetu. Smoke is pervaded. Smoke is pervaded or always accompanied by fire. Bracket में लिख लो साध्य. Or always accompanied by fire. Sadhe. That is, wherever there is smoke, there is fire. Wherever there is smoke, there is fire. Fire is vyapak. Smoke is vyape. So smoke is always inside or always pervaded by fire. So can there be smoke without fire? But can there be fire without smoke? Yes. Array pie diagram normal. When? हाँ. Pie तो ये तो नॉर्मल है ना, पता है ना? सी सेट किसने कर लिया? हो जाएगा मतलब, ठीक है, जिसका हो जाएगा वो ठीक है. व्यापक एंड व्याप्य. But यानी next line. But vyapti cannot be formed by fire as hetu and smoke as sadhe, because vyapti cannot be formed by fire as hetu and smoke as sadhe because there are smokeless fires. Example, red hot iron. Then you write next heading. This is clear. There is nothing difficult about it. Then you write types of vyapti. Types of vyapti. Can you make sounds like vyapti? आ मैंने बताया था, you put like this. So from now on, let us start writing Vyapti like this. Can you write? Okay, try. Vyapti. First is Samvyapti and Asamvyapti. This is also known as Vishamvyapti. Sum means equal extension. जिन्हें इंग्लिश हिंदी में प्रॉब्लम हो वो क्या लिख सकते हैं? The people who have problem in Hindi words, you can write equal extension vyapti and unequal extension vyapti. Equal extension. Example. What is knowable is nameable. What is knowable is nameable. Is true? Similarly, what is nameable is knowable. What is knowable is you can switch some vyapti. Then what will be asam vyapti? Where we can't make this switch. Example, smoke and fire. Wahi hai. Nothing changes. Those very examples. Example, smoke and fire. Right. While there can be vyapti with smoke as hetu, of course. While there can be vyapti when smoke is hetu and fire is sadhe, but no vyapti can be formed when fire is hetu and smoke is sadhe. But दोबारा डिक्टेट करूं क्या? लिख लिया? बोर हो गए होगे तुम लोग इससे? नहीं? ओके फाइन, अक्सर हो जाओगे अभी. Don't worry. As it is dependent on condition, condition in Hindi is known as upadhi. In bracket you write upadhi. As it is dependent on condition, that is wet fuel. Wet fuel. Arey wet fuel. Note. Vyapti can only be formed. Vyapti can only be formed if the relation between hetu and sadhya is unconditional. If the relation between hetu and sadhya is unconditional. No problem? Next heading, methods of establishing vyapti. Methods of establishing vyapti. How you can establish a vyapti. Number one, अन्वय. Number one, अन्वय. ब्रैकेट में लिख लो मेथड ऑफ अग्रीमेंट. मेथड ऑफ अग्रीमेंट. इसको अग्रीमेंट इन प्रेजेंस भी बोलते हैं, है ना? इसी को इंग्लिश में क्या बोलते हैं? अग्रीमेंट इन प्रेजेंस. In all cases where hetu is present, sadhe will also be present. In all cases where hetu is present, sadhe will also be present. That is always a positive association. That is always a positive association and no negative instance. And no negative instance. Example, wherever there is smoke, there is fire. What is Anvay? Anvay is the agreement in presence. This means wherever you find, ये वही वाला अन्वय है. The last, yesterday we did one, है ना? केवल अन्वय वाला. उसमें तो केवल अन्वय था. It is only अन्वय, हाँ? Yes. So अन्वय means agreement in presence. Wherever there is smoke, there will be fire. They will always be present. If you find smoke, fire will always be there. This means they will always be associated in presence, and there is no other instance of negative. Negative means ऐसा नहीं है कि कभी smoke है और fire नहीं. There is no example. There is no condition. Example तो हमने देख ही लिया. Then second step is व्यतिरेकी. Second is व्यतिरेकी. इसे आप मेथड ऑफ डिसएग्रीमेंट लिख लीजिए या फिर अग्रीमेंट इन एब्सेंस. व्यतिरेकी इज अग्रीमेंट इन एब्सेंस और मेथड ऑफ डिसएग्रीमेंट. मेथड ऑफ डिसएग्रीमेंट और अग्रीमेंट इन एब्सेंस. Here absence of one, here absence of one या फिर in absence of one, other will also be absent. In absence of one, other will also be absent. Therefore, it is a negative association. Therefore, it is a negative association. अगर फायर नहीं होगी तो स्मोक भी नहीं होगी. If there is no fire, then there is no smoke. But the opposite is not true. If there is no smoke, can you say will be no fire? There can be smokeless fire. Fine. Right. Example. Whenever there is fire, there is no smoke. Whenever there is no fire, there is no smoke. Whenever there is no fire, there is no smoke. No जोड़ दिया basically. Then third is व्यभिचार ग्रह. अपने स्पेलिंग उससे देखो. धीरज से बात करो. उठा लो फोन. दिल मिल गया. व्यभिचार ग्रह. व्यभिचार का मतलब क्या होता है? व्यभिचार. Have you heard this term? How? In that term, it is not used here. Okay. So here the vyabhichar means that there are no contrary examples. This means if you find contrary examples to it, then it will be a vyabhichar. But can vyapti have contrary examples? It cannot. Contrary examples means if it is said that wherever there is smoke, there will be fire. But if you find an example or an event or an instance where there is smoke but there is no fire, It is a contrary example or instance? There cannot be. If there is any contrary example, then it will not be a vyapti. Then vyapti cannot be formed because it is a necessary relation. Unconditional also. Likh lo. There should not be any exception or contrary example in Anvay and Vyatireki. Pari beta, it is written in your, what do you say, these class notes that were given. Why am I making you write? Because the sequence is very important. Just because of that. अच्छा नीचे करना कुछ doubt क्या? एक मिनट. Nagraj, if presence of smoke, it indicates presence of fire. Yes. Can we consider this statement example of some? Some means that the hetu and sadhe should be interchangeable, and asam means that hetu and sadhe cannot be interchanged. Can smoke and fire be interchanged? No. Therefore, they fall under asam vyapti. Fine. Will you introduce can't here?
Anything, for example, any metaphysical entity, God or any metaphysical entity.
According to Nyaya, yes. Huh? Liberation? The knowledge of liberation? हमने पढ़ा था नित्य ज्ञान. So, understand like this. Your knowledge will be equal to the names you know. And the names you know will form your knowledge. Your. So, this is not about anybody else's knowledge. It is about yours. In the sense, whatever you can know, you will know its name. And whatever you can name, you will know it. So your vocabulary may be small, so we can say your knowledge is small. A person who has better vocabulary will have a better knowledge. It's just in that sense. But whatever you will know, you will put a name to it. Even if you don't know the exact name, you will say, "Are wo jo lal lal sa tha, are wo jo," you know, it's again a name. वो वहां पे वो एग्जांपल कहाँ पे चलेगा वहां पे. So here also so here we have to think like Nyaya. Even if you say that there is this word kabuka we don't know about, right? But whatever we know, our knowledge is limited to kabuka, that much only. We don't know in detail. Yes, the Vedas के अंदर ही naming is knowledge. We will see, है ना? जब हम लोग वैदिक उसमें पढ़ेंगे तो आएगा दृष्टात and अदृष्टात. But again, you have to understand, you will not introduce the concepts of Western philosophy in criticism. Criticism में लिखेंगे ना वो. When we are understanding the theory, will you criticize? This is flaw. This is absolutely wrong. Whenever we are understanding the philosophy, understand it with full Nyayiks banke. So when you are reading Nyaya, be the Nyayiks. Nyayikas, don't let contrary views, because if the contrary views will come na, you will feel like ye kya faltu baat hai. Of course it will feel like this, and if at one instance you feel it's something shallow, you will not be able to understand and appreciate it. Maybe the good part will come after 2-3 theories, but you will miss that because pehle reject kar diya. This happens in life also. We first reject people, reject in the sense, अरे तो फिर बाद में पता चलता है वो अच्छा आदमी था या मतलब वो सिलेक्ट हो गया, फिर लोग उसे अप्रिशिएट करना स्टार्ट करते हैं. Only after that. So you have to understand, we will criticize when we will criticize. Okay. So keval anvay. So firstly, these two are different classifications. Keval anvay means it is only having anvay. Anvay in the sense, it is like just some vyapti wala concept hai na, keval anvay. Both sides it will be having the agreement in presence. But keval vyatirekhi, both sides it will be having agreement in absence. Whereas Samanyata Drashti is about coexistence. So that's a different classification. This anvay is the condition that a vyapti has to fulfill to be called a valid vyapti. This is the method. So if you have to check, if a statement is given to you, how will you check whether it is a vyapti, a valid vyapti or not? You will first see, does it follow the concept of anvay? Is there agreement in presence? Whenever you see hetu, do you also see sadhe? Yes. Then is it vyatireki? Whenever the sadhe is absent, is the hetu also absent? Yes. Then third, vyabhichargraha. Vyabhichargraha means that there should not be any contrary instance. There should not be any negative instance, because if there is a negative example, then problematic. And fourth, upadhi niras. There should not be any conditions. We all know, if there is a condition, it cannot be vyapti. Now, these four were also accepted by Vedantins. Vedantins also accepted these four conditions. But other two were also accepted, like the other two, additional two were also given by Nyayas, which were not accepted by Vedantins. Fifth one is तर्क. ये अच्छा पहले लिखवा देती हूँ ना, ये पूरा लिखा नहीं है ना हमने. Have you written व्यभिचार ग्रह? Fourth, उपाधि निरस. Very good question. What is the aim of Nyaya philosophy? So the aim of Nyaya philosophy is, again, like every Indian philosophy, to remove suffering. But before they could start even thinking about substance, God, and how to remove suffering, they wanted to know how we can know the truth, how we can know anything. और उसके बाद they become too much engrossed in epistemology. So much engrossed in epistemology that their whole philosophy became focused on epistemology itself. They gave some kind of metaphysics, but it was not very tangible, very reasonable. They created 16 categories, and many of those categories are just the argumentation subjects, like tark, how you can defeat the other opponent. But that should not be part of ontology. Should it be part of ontology? How one should argument? No, because they become too much engrossed in epistemology. That is why whenever we read Nyaya, we read its epistemology the most. You see, when we read perception, deep analysis of perception, what is perception? What are the types of perception? What is the stages of perception? What are extraordinary perception? Everything about perception. Similarly in inference. What is the inference? What are the types of inference? How you can check the inference? What is vyapti? How you can form? What are the types of vyapti? How you can check the vyapti? Or how you can form the vyapti? है ना, methods of forming a vyapti. Everything. अभी तो इससे भी आगे आएगा. अभी इसके बाद आएगा what is a valid hetu? Inference, vyapti, then more deeper, hetu. Is it, what are the conditions of valid hetu? What if the hetu is invalid? What if the hetu is fallacious? What is the problem with hetu? Hetvabhas. Very important and direct question. Direct answer. Hetvabhas. If you find hetvabhas, you become happy. Because what you have to do, you have to just make some charts. हेत्वाभास. And then they will talk about Upaman. Upaman means comparison. And later they will talk about verbal testimony. यही करते रहे वो. फिर उन्हें बीच में याद आया, ओ थोड़ा सा मेटाफिजिक्स भी करना है. After that, they told us what are the what is God, what is the conception of God, and what are the proofs for God. Then what is the soul, and how soul and body and everything is done, and what is the concept of causation. Asatkaryavad. Remember, they will also give the theory of atomism. Atomism is similar with that of Vaisheshika. और फिर हम करेंगे क्रिटिसिज्म और खत्म. यही है. दिस इज द कंप्लीट न्याय. अभी ऐसा लग रहा होगा बहुत सारा है, बट इज इट बहुत सारा? हाँ, वैशिष्ट का अलग थ्योरी है. वैशिष्ट का वी विल स्टार्ट आफ्टर न्याय and we will do the metaphysics of it. अच्छा, एक चार्ट बना लो. चलो एक काम करते हैं, let us make it या फिर चार्ट वैसे मैं आखिरी में बनवाना चाह रही थी आपको. आखिरी में बनाते हैं, है ना? Then it will summarize. Right now I will make you write something which you don't know right now, तो उसमें मजा नहीं आएगा. Okay. Fifth is तर्क. अच्छा, उपाधि. Fourth is उपाधि निरस. उपाधि निरस. It is the repeated observation. It is the repeated observation made on varying condition. Made on varying condition. Repeated observation made on varying. Varying मतलब changing conditions. Changing condition. We establish the relation between hetu and sadhe as conditional or unconditional. So basically, you will have to see smoke and fire in various conditions. Only then you will know whether they are conditional or not. Whether the relation is conditional or unconditional. You will have to see many times. This is what they are saying, that you see the hetu and sadhe in various conditions. Only then you will know whether the relation is conditional or not. If it is conditional, then vyapti will not be formed. And if it is unconditional. You couldn't find any contrary example. There is no condition which is associated for the relation between hetu and sadhe. Then it becomes vyapti. Simple. It's about finding the contrary instance. It is about condition. Like the condition for fire and smoke vyapti, it is wet fuel. If the fuel is not wet, there will be no smoke. So it is the condition. Wet fuel. Vyabhichar means again. Negative instance. Whenever so the अभी लिखवाया तो था मैंने, नहीं लिखवाया. Example, the red hot iron. All. That's inference. We are not talking about, that's the classification of what? Where? कहाँ लिखा है? मैंने क्या लिखा है? बस वही लिखो तुम. तभी तो मैंने चेंज करो लिखवाया है ना। मैंने तो इन्फ्रेंस में लिखवाया है।
इन्फ्रेंस में लेकिन है क्या आपकी
बेस्ड ऑन, हाँ बेस्ड ऑन एस्टैब्लिशिंग द व्याप्ति होगा, लेकिन वो लिखा किसमें है हमने, इन्फ्रेंस में लिखा है, उसी की क्लासिफिकेशन में हम डाल रहे हैं। फाइन, देखो दिस इज you just understand, if you are very clear in the classifications, only then you will be able to write good answers. If you get confused, because all of this is same, very same, and when you do like this, then there is a problem. You feel like अन्वय यहाँ पर भी है, यहाँ पर भी है, यहाँ पर भी है, केवल अन्वय क्लासिफिकेशन में भी है, अन्वय समन वो उसमें आ गया, समव्याप्ति के अंदर भी आ जाएगा, उसके बाद हमारा उसमें भी आ जाएगा, कंडीशंस में भी आ जाएगा, मेथड्स में भी आ जाएगा। When we will even reject something, तब भी आ जाएगा, जब हम हेत्वाभास करेंगे तब भी कहीं ना कहीं आ जाएगा। So basically be conceptually clear, बस very simple। व्याप्ति है, कैसे क्यों? हाँ, so no, एक सेकेंड, no knowable object is no non nameable। अरे भाई केवल, ओके आई अंडरस्टूड। अच्छा, you are going by the, okay fine, don't worry, forget everything, now start again। There is this classification of inference which talks about keval अन्वय means that there is positive association, है ना, positive association when there is hetu and sadhe। This means if the hetu is smoke, or sorry not smoke, when the hetu is knowable and the sadhe is nameable, then also it is true। When the hetu is nameable and the sadhe is knowable, then also it is true। Isn't it a samvyapti? Isn't it? अरे समव्याप्ति का ही तो इन्फ्रेंस है ये। It is different way of representing the same। Here we are reading it in samvyapti, vyapti, and the samvyapti leads to keval अन्वय, simply। Okay, केवल व्यतिरेकी, केवल व्यतिरेकी means असमव्याप्ति, you cannot interchange properly, है ना, the hetu and sadhe are not properly interchangeable, ठीक है। then सामान्य तो दृष्ट, वो तो एकदम ही अलग है, ओ सॉरी अन्वय व्यतिरेकी, वो तो एकदम ही, उसके अंदर दोनों चीजें हैं, अन्वय भी है व्यतिरेकी भी है। एंड इट्स लाइक असमव्याप्ति का एग्जाम्पल। समव्याप्ति, अच्छा मैंने क्या बोला, सॉरी it is samvyapti, this is also samvyapti, only this is here, it is this here, यहाँ पे नो दोनों साइड आ जाएगा बस, और कुछ नहीं है। क्लियर? तुम लोगों ने ना मेरे को हिला दिया मेरा, हाँ देखो inference we classify into पूर्वत, शेषवत, सामान्यतः दृष्ट, ठीक है। we also classify into स्वार्थ अनुमान एंड परार्थ अनुमान. ठीक है, श्योर. ठीक. नाउ inference is also classified on way of establishing inference based on vyapti. Clear? This classification is keval anvay. Here there is agreement in presence. Agreement in presence matlab positively they are related, both sides. This means whatever is knowable is nameable. Here also it is positive, and whatever is nameable is, here also it is positive relation, both sides. It will be based on what kind of vyapti? This is inference, but it will be based on some vyapti. ठीक है? Then it is keval vyatireki. Now this keval vyatireki example is very bad. है ना? Whatever has no smell is not different from others. No. Asli meaning hai whatever is different from others has smell. Earth has smell. Therefore it is different from others. But the problem with this is that it doesn't make sense. It makes sense only if you add no. Can you see this? Whatever has no smell is not different from others. अब चाहे इसको not different from others कर लो पहले and smell को बाद में कर लो. Either you put smell पहले and not different from others बाद में. It doesn't make any difference. The statement remains same. Now this vyatireki, which is agreement in absence, it is the agreement in absence. If there will be no smell, then the thing will be not different. If thing will not be different, then it will have no smell. So this means always they are agreeing in absence. When there is no smell, it is also not different. If it is not different, then it is also not having smell. Now this means they both agree in absence. They both agree in absence. Presence की बात नहीं हो रही है, यहाँ पे किसकी बात हो रही है? Absence. Now it is also based on what kind of vyapti? Some vyapti. Because here also it is interchangeable but negative in absence. No वाले concept में. And third is anvay vyatireki. Here smoke, fire, but fire, smoke not possible because it is asamvyapti. Here anvay of this and vyatireki of this is possible. सिर्फ इसका possible है. ठीक है? तो हमारे एग्जाम्पल के अंदर हम ये नहीं लिखते हैं, हम क्या लिखते हैं? बस इसी का अन्वय और इसी का व्यतिरेकी. Simply smoke and fire have agreement in presence. Wherever there will be smoke, there will be fire. Wherever there will be no fire, there will be no smoke. व्यतिरेकी. No ऐड किया तो और presence ऐड करी तो. So अन्वय व्यतिरेकी. But these are the. अब now, अब इसके बाद अगला अब हम क्या पढ़ रहे हैं? ये समझ में आ गया? Yes, but understand it like this. अगर हम इसी को extend करेंगे तो इसके अगली वाली स्टेटमेंट क्या आ जाएगी? जहां पे फायर और स्मोक आ जाएगा. लेकिन ये और ये अलग अलग है. ये दोनों अलग अलग है, इसलिए हम सिर्फ इसी को लग रहे हैं, इसी कंफ्यूजन को बचाने के लिए। लेकिन अब हम क्योंकि असम व्याप्ति में घुस गए हैं, इसलिए ये बताना पड़ रहा है कि इट इज बेस्ड ऑन असम व्याप्ति। लेकिन हमें इसको व्याप्ति को इस क्लासिफिकेशन से लिंक करने की जरूरत है ही नहीं। यू सिंपली हैव टू अंडरस्टैंड अन्वय व्यतिरेकी, केवल अन्वय, केवल व्यतिरेकी एंड अन्वय व्यतिरेकी is a classification for, whereas when we talk about vyapti, we talk about samvyapti and asamvyapti. And when we try to establish the, what do you say, conditions or method, then we talk about agreement in presence, vyatireki agreement in absence, vyabhichar graha, no contrary instance, upadhi niras, unconditional. Simple. One word, one meaning. And if you understand, you will be able to formulate good answers. Hmm. 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 You will write wherever there is no fire, there is no smoke. तो प्रूव आप क्या कर रहे हो? साध्य कर रहे हो ना? Yes, yes, because it is the sadhya. व्यतिरेकी is agreement in absence. अगर फायर नहीं है तो क्या साध्य, मतलब क्या स्मोक होगी? नहीं होगी। लेकिन वही चीज अब इसी के अंदर, अब इसी के अंदर ये जो दोनों व्याप्ति हैं, देखो देयर आर टू काइंड्स ऑफ व्याप्ति। व्याप्ति दूसरे वाली तो बन ही नहीं सकती, एक ही व्याप्ति है। लेकिन कंफ्यूजन पता है आप लोगों को क्यों हो रहा है? बिकॉज यू आर ऑल्सो कंसिडरिंग द सेकेंड वन एज व्याप्ति, विच इज कंडीशनल, फायर एंड स्मोक। दैट इज नॉट अ व्याप्ति, देयर इज ओनली वन व्याप्ति। बट व्याप्ति wherever there is smoke, there is fire. What is this? What is this? अब बस ये याद रखो, ठीक है? Wherever there is smoke, there is fire. When we are testing this particular vyapti, first we will check anvay. Anvay means whether it is having anvay or not, whether they are present in, whether there is agreement in presence. Agreement in presence means when smoke is present, is fire also present? Yes. Okay, checked. Now of this particular vyapti only we will check the vyatireki. दूसरी स्टेटमेंट पे नहीं जा रहे हैं हम, इसी स्टेटमेंट का चेक करें। इसी स्टेटमेंट क्या है? Whenever there is no fire, there is no smoke. No fire and no. If there is no fire, will there be smoke? So here इस स्टेटमेंट को ही हमने नेगेटिव किया है, बस इसके मीनिंग को चेंज नहीं किया। We have only did the opposite of it. And you are, this means the व्यतिरेकी means जिसे हम प्रूव कर रहे थे, अगर उसको हमने नेगेटिव कर दिया, is the smoke also absent? Now you would be saying कि ये वाला हमने क्यों नहीं लिखा? Whenever there is no smoke, there is no fire. क्योंकि ये किस स्टेटमेंट का व्यतिरेकी है? Wherever there is fire, there is smoke. ये इसका व्यतिरेकी है। बिकॉज साध्य जिसे प्रूव कर रहे हैं उसी को तो एब्सेंट करोगे। इफ यू आर प्रूविंग समथिंग ऑन द बेसिस ऑफ मार्क, only if you negate that, then you will be able to check its validity or not. भाई अगर स्मोक है ही नहीं, This thing doesn't make sense. If there is no smoke, how will you ever know? This thing doesn't make sense. If there is no smoke, पूरा स्टेटमेंट चालू होगा बोलना, कुछ दिखाई नहीं ना. जब स्मोक ही नहीं दिखी, fire no fire doesn't make sense. Now you understand. It doesn't make sense. It makes sense only if you observe something, because vyapti is based on firstly the paksh dharmata, and vyapti itself is based on, sorry, inference is based on paksh dharmata and vyapti itself is based on observable fact. There must be something to observe. But if there is no smoke, what will you observe? Nothing. हाँ हाँ, हमें समझ गए कि कहाँ तुम लोग वो हो गए. हाँ, है ना. वायर्स को वो नहीं करना, कोलाइड, है ना, शॉर्ट सर्किट हो जाएगा. बिल्कुल सिंपल. This is the Vyatireki of this particular statement only, this Vyapti only. Then third thing we will apply is Vyatireki lagaya, then Vyabichar Graha. Vyabichar Graha means no contrary instance. Now, if you find a contrary instance, if you find smoke without fire, will it form Vyapti? No. You cannot form Vyapti, right? Because galat ho gayi na, necessary nahi raha. There is not, it doesn't. यहाँ पे हमने क्यों नहीं बनाई व्याप्ति इस एग्जाम्पल में? Because we find hot ball of iron. What is iron? Have you seen iron? If you heat it to a level, it becomes red hot. There is fire inside it, but is it smoking? It doesn't smoke. It's red hot, but it doesn't smoke. This means that you have found an instance where there is fire, but there is no smoke. This means there is a instance where smoke less fire is available. This is the Vyabichar Graha. Because there is this Vyabichar Graha, this doesn't become Vyapti. But here we don't find any contrary instance. Therefore, it becomes Vyapti. Then fourth condition we go. What is the fourth condition? Upadhi Niras. Upadhi Niras means condition. Here there is no condition. If you have seen the smoke, in all conditions you will find fire. Remember, it's the time of Nyaya, not the vaping and all kinds of smokes that are being produced by, you know, what do you say? वो मॉल में जाते हैं तो वो धुआं दिखता है ना, वो वाला तब नहीं था टेक्नोलॉजी. In that era, smoke was only originating from fire. है ना? ये कंफ्यूजन नहीं लाना कभी. एक बच्चे ने ये भी पूछा था कि मैम वो जो डिस्को के अंदर स्मोक आती है उसमें तो फायर नहीं होती है ना. हम न्याय के टाइम की बात कर रहे हैं. So fourth condition also fulfilled. Now we will talk about fifth and sixth condition. We will check. And if all conditions are fulfilled, then we will say it has become a Vyapti. So here we are talking about wet fuel. That what is the condition? Why is it the contrary example coming up? Because it is dependent on wet fuel. So here there is, when will be the smoke produced? Smoke is only produced when the fuel is wet. But if the fuel is not wet, there will be no smoke. यहाँ पे condition है ना, smoke कब आएगी? जब wet fuel होगा. वो व्यभिचार हो गया. Vyabhichar is the instance. Upadhi Niras is the condition. Both are having the same example. Here you are talking about the condition. Here you are talking about the contrary instance. Simply. Clear? पक्का? I can explain it again, don't worry. है ना? I can explain it again, don't worry, absolutely. Okay. See, there are two statements, है ना? We are checking both the statements whether they can form a vyapti or not. ठीक है? पहले का सब भूल जाओ. We are just taking two statements and we are checking whether we can form vyapti with it or not. First statement is, wherever there is smoke, there is fire. Fine. And the second statement is, wherever there is fire, there is smoke. We are checking this. And we don't know yet. We are not sure yet. Fine. So first we check for Anvay. Anvay means wherever the smoke is present, fire should also be present. We see 10 instances. Every time we found, wherever we saw smoke, there was also fire. We said we always find them together. Anvay is checked. Okay. Then we say B, Vyatireki. Vyatireki matlab, we will just do the negative of it. We will deny. Wherever there is no fire, there is no smoke. Then we saw, let us check whether without fire also we can find smoke. If there is no fire, can you still find smoke somewhere? No. This means Vyatireki is also true and checked. Checked. The negative also we have checked. Okay. Then third is Vyabhichar Graha. In Vyabhichar Graha, we again go out and try to find any contrary instance. Contrary instance means we still try that, कहीं तो मिल जाए ऐसी smoke जिसमें fire नहीं. But still we are not able to find any smoke without fire. Every time we found smoke, we also found fire. जंगल में कहीं धुआं निकला, वो there is a कहावत also ना, अगर धुआं है तो आग होगी. You have heard this? ऐसे instances से निकला है. Wherever the people found smoke, they also found fire. This means Vyabhichar Graha is not there. This means this is also checked. The third one, there is no contrary instance found. Checked. Then fourth is Upadhi Niras. Now we are trying to find, is this relation between smoke and fire conditional or unconditional? It is unconditional. We couldn't find any particular condition on which the smoke was dependent on, or the fire was dependent on smoke. Smoke is dependent on fire, but fire is not dependent on smoke. कोई ऐसी कंडीशन नहीं मिली जहां पर हम बोलें कि इस कंडीशन के होने पर ही फायर होती है. ऐसी कोई हमें कंडीशन नहीं मिली. We couldn't find any condition. Therefore, the relation is unconditional, upadhi niras. Therefore, this fourth condition is also checked. Then fifth is tark. Tark means reasoning. Let us deny it. Let us deny means there is no fire. Sorry, there is no fire. एक सेकेंड रुको. तर्क के अंदर there is there is no fire but there is smoke. Is it possible? There is no fire but there is smoke. लेकिन fire क्या है? Cause and smoke is effect. Can there be effect without cause? Smoke is effect, fire is the cause. Can you have effect without the cause? Logically? नहीं ना? This means if you deny, then it is absurd. And this absurdity proves कि आपका initial statement सही था. तर्क. These are different ways of proving the same thing. The statement is not changing. The same thing is being proved by different ways. Because they have to prove whom wrong? चारवाक. चारवाक ने deny किया था ना? That vyapti cannot be formed. Now these people are saying vyapti can be formed. You just have to fulfill these conditions. Let's check again and again. है ना? Then last is सामान्य लक्षण अलौकिक प्रत्यक्ष प्रमाण. So here they say, let us see the universal. What is the universal? Smokiness and fieriness. So wherever we could find smokiness, we also found fieriness. So they are not exactly, we don't have to see the particulars if we can understand the universals. अगर हमें cowness पता है तो हमें सारी cow पता है. So if we can understand smokiness, then we know all smokes. If we can understand fieriness, then we know all fires. So now smokiness is invariably associated with fieriness. Simple. So here we check whether the universals also match. Yes. Wherever we find smokiness, we also find fieriness. Because the relationship between smokiness and fieriness is necessary. So this also gets checked. Therefore, this becomes a vyapti. Okay. Now this vyapti, now we will have to see whether it is a samvyapti or asamvyapti. If it would have been samvyapti, तो हम opposite करते same हो जाता है ना. लेकिन यहाँ पे हम knowable nameable करेंगे तो same हो जाएगा, तो वो समव्याप्ति हो जाएगी. लेकिन ये कौन सी व्याप्ति है? असमव्याप्ति. Because whenever you switch, अब हमने साध्य की जगह पे हेतु रख दिया और हेतु की जगह पे यही करा यहाँ पे. Now let's check अन्वय. Whether we find all fires associated with smoke. Is there a fire? मतलब is there a fire which has no smoke? Yes. अन्वय गलत हो गया. अन्वय गलत हो गया. फिर व्यतिरेकी भी गलत हो जाएगा. व्यतिरेकी में क्या आएगा? Wherever there is no smoke, there is no. Is it wherever there is no smoke, there is no. Can you say कि smoke नहीं है और मतलब smoke नहीं है तो fire भी नहीं है? नहीं कह सकते. Because there is smokeless fire. Where? Have you seen in kitchen when you get that blue light? गैस जब जलती है तब ये ब्लू कलर की लाइट वो जलते हैं ना लाइट, उसमें स्मोक होती है. फ्लेम में स्मोक आती है, धुआं आता है. किचन में ही मिल गया एग्जाम्पल. तो व्यतिरेकी भी गलत हो गया. दिस इज ऑल्सो. डू यू फाइंड व्यभिचार ग्रह? कोई कॉन्ट्ररी एग्जाम्पल मिलता है? हाँ, किचन में ही मिल गया है ना. We also found the contrary example in red hot iron. व्यभिचार ग्रह है, यहाँ पे भी गलत. Then let us check for उपाधि निरस. उपाधि निरस means, is there any condition associated with this relation of fire and smoke? Yes. What is the condition? Wet fuel. अगर लकड़ी गीली नहीं होगी तो वो धुआं नहीं देती. अच्छा, तुम लोग सब अर्बन बच्चे हो. हाँ, हवन में देखा होगा. सूखी लकड़ी क्यों मांगते हैं? Because if you burn the dry wood, there will be no smoke or less smoke. But if you burn wet wood, it will be very smoky. So the condition for fire to produce smoke is wet fuel. Only if the fuel will be wet, the fire will produce smoke. If there is dry wood, there will be fire, but no smoke. So it is conditional. And because it is conditional, can it be vyapti? No. Now, tark. मतलब मेरे को लगा इतना मेरे को लगा ये जनरल नॉलेज है, मतलब मुझे लगा ये क्या कहते हैं कॉमन सेंस है, क्योंकि इसमें देखो सारे कट रहे हैं, एक भी चीज चेक नहीं है अभी तक. तर्क. नाउ डू द तर्क फॉर इट. Wherever there is no अरे एक ही को तो डिनाई करोगे ना, दोनों को कर दोगे हैं? Wherever there is no fire there is smoke. ये तो गलत हो गया ना. तर्क. सामान्य. Now सामान्य is fire and smoke universals. हमने वो डायग्राम बनाया था. व्यापक and व्याप्य. So what is व्यापक? Fire. What is व्याप्य? Smoke. So is smokiness pervaded by fire or fire pervaded by smokiness? Pervaded. We wrote the word pervaded. Smoke is pervaded. Smokiness is pervaded by fieriness. This means सामान्य के हिसाब से भी अगर हम देखें तो it's not acceptable. Now, this cannot be formed as vyapti. Can it be formed as vyapti? No. हाँ? तर्क invalid knowledge नहीं है, वो वाला तर्क अलग है. That is hypothetical reasoning. Here we are doing logical reasoning, है ना? We are denying it in a logical. So तर्क भी बहुत सारे हैं in न्याय philosophy. So न्याय philosophy, okay. So I'll tell you, and you people might not be appreciating the न्याय philosophy because we are reading very mundane things from न्याय philosophy. Any day I will like to change the syllabus. I will change this because Hetu Sadhe is okay. But what is more important? The negotiation and the communication skills that Nyaya school teaches us. So now when they say Tark, they talk about various kinds of Tark. Now they say that if you want to win a negotiation, if you want to win a debate, you should first confirm from the other person what they are saying. Then break their assumptions one by one. On what grounds? Logical grounds. If you cannot find logical grounds, then other grounds. But firstly, you should break their arguments on logical reasoning, logical grounds, one by one, one by one. And once their complete assumption or point of view is demolished, then you give your own system. Because if you give your own system or own theory before you have broken the theory of others, will they accept? No. So first you have to break their arguments. And to break their arguments, you have to use your own logic, of course, plus their logic. The best argument, the best way to break the arguments is to use their logic to break their logic, their arguments. So these people are debaters. Vaad Vivad Vidya, है ना? Nyaya school is also known as Vaad Vivad Vidya. So these people are dwelling upon this epistemology so much, Vyapti and all of these so much, because they are debaters. The moment somebody says about anything metaphysical in other theories, they will say, how do you know? And from there, they will break their arguments. They will prove that other schools were talking, random things without any evidence. Yeah, all the negotiation, communication skills other people are doing, most of them have been mentioned in Nyaya school. It's a very good school. Now they will tell you various ways in which arguments of the others can be broken, various ways. अब हम उसमें नहीं जाएंगे डीप में, क्योंकि हमारा वो टॉपिक ही एकदम अलग हो जाएगा. But they are people who are using great logic, and rather it is said that the Western logic is very inferior to Indian logic. And in India, the school which has done most work on logic is Nyaya. Their logic is infallible, very good logic, wherever they have used it. So all these things we are reading now, we are reading in very superficially, but all of these things will have deep and profound repercussions when you start using them at the level of argumentation. That is why this school is also known as argumentation school, because they focus on argumentation. This school is also known as logical realism, because they believe in realism on the basis of logic, not on the basis of just scriptures. Various other. It is also known as Anvisky. Anvisky means the one which breaks the logic of others. So there, it's a very deep school. But what we read, the dry stuff of Vyapti, formation of Vyapti and all. But yes, because it is asked in exam, we will have to stick to this. But remember, Nyaya school is not just about all this. It is much deeper on the level of arguments and logic. Not exactly. This is a different way of understanding. Again, one word in Hindi means many things. Okay? So Nyaya school has done so much work on epistemology because their intentions were, before they could give their own theory, their intentions were to break the theories of all others. And for that, they used epistemological logic. Like, they would use tark to deny the statements of others. They will say कि इसका contrary भी सही है. अगर contrary absent नहीं है, if the contrary statement is not absurd, then the original statement is not true. तर्क पे फेल कर दिया. जो तर्क पे फेल नहीं हुआ, उसे कंडीशन पे फेल कर दिया. जो कंडीशन पे फेल नहीं हुआ. So this means there are so many conditions. They can fail the arguments of others on any of these. समझ में आया? So what is this? This is how you form Vyapti. How many kinds of Vyapti? Some and asam. Examples बताओ सम व्याप्ति के. All nameable are knowable, or knowable are nameable. Example of asam vyapti: wherever there is smoke, there is fire, but wherever there is fire, there is smoke is not true. Therefore, because it is asam in its exchange, it is known as asam vyapti. Only one side is true. Clear? Pakka? Online people? एक ही को नो करना है. एग्जाम्पल लिखेंगे ना. देखा, तर्क लिखवा दिया क्या मैंने? नहीं लिखवाया? चलो लिखो. उपाधि निरस लिख लिया हमने. Example: fire as hetu is dependent on wet fuel. Example: fire as hetu is dependent on wet fuel. फिफ्थ, तर्क। हाँ रोहित, देयर इज नो अदर एग्जाम्पल अदर देन स्मोक एंड फायर। घर जाके पढ़ना है। चलो तर्क, तर्क। all things which has smoke has fire, all things which has smoke has fire can be proved by, can be proved by, ये सब लिखा नहीं है, लिख लो, can be proved by तर्क, by showing the absurdity of, by showing the absurdity of contradicting the statement, by contradicting the statement. Example, example. There may be smoke without fire. Example, there may be smoke without fire. तो हमने किसको डिनाई कर दिया? फायर क्या है? इनिशियल स्टेटमेंट में फायर क्या था? साध्य, साध्य को डिनाई कर दिया। तो अब इसमें क्या बताओ, इस स्टेटमेंट में क्या प्रॉब्लम है? देयर मे बी स्मोक विदाउट फायर। Smoke is effect and fire is, can there be effect without cause? लिख लो. This is absurd. This statement is absurd because law of causation says, because law of causation says there cannot be an effect. There cannot be an effect without causation. There cannot be an effect without cause. Effect की जगह पे लिख लो smoke और cause की जगह पे लिख लो fire. Therefore, original sentence is true. Therefore, original sentence is true. देखो जब आप ये लोग आप घर जाके इसको अपने आप एग्जाम्पल लिख के टेस्ट करोगे ना, पढ़ोगे, then you will laugh at yourself. हाँ, original sentence is true. Then sixth is हाँ, सामान्य लक्षण अलौकिक प्रत्यक्ष प्रमाण. Here vyapti is proved through extraordinary means. That is through universal or essence. That is through universal or essence. Through perception of universal, full stop. Through perception of universal, that is smokiness. Through perception of universal smokiness, we know all the cases of smoke. Full stop. We know the universal. We know the universals and realize their invariable relation. We know the universals and realize their invariable relation. Note. The first four methods were also accepted by Vedantins. First four methods were also accepted by Vedantins. Full stop. Nyaya additionally accepted Tark and Samanya Lakshan Alaukik Pratyaksh Praman. Full stop. Clear? एक बार go through कर लो. Quickly go through. I am in no hurry. Completely, just if you have any problem, ask. है ना? If you are finding any confusion, ask. Read it once and then ask. Ma'am, is this statement to be tested for Vyapti follow order from Anvay to Tark or any other order? No. That's not very important. Little bit clear, of course. And there is no other example apart from 5. And the examples we have given, you have to write those examples because उन्होंने वही दिए थे. And most of the examples will not fit exactly. अगर आप नया इन्वेंट करने की कोशिश करेंगे तो वो एग्जाम्पल फिट नहीं होगा. Just stick to these examples only.
We impose the importance of action because there is a stuff action because there is an exception. Not always there is a smoke, there will be fire because it is there is smoke and there is fire. It is one present in that particular function that is here in a specific field. But there is the exception where there is the presence of smoke but there is no fire. Like in the ocean.
We will do that. That is the condition for valid hetu. We are accepting that the hetu is valid. When we are discussing the vyapti now, we are accepting that the hetu is valid. So it's like we will be going the next topic that we will do is hetu. And here we will be analyzing that vyapti itself will become wrong if the hetu is wrong. Just understand. So inference is based on two things. One is vyapti and second is paksh dharmata. What is paksh dharmata? Hetu is present in paksh. This means smoke, which is hetu, should be present where? On hill. है ना? If anything is wrong with hill, this paksh, if anything is wrong, then also inference will be wrong. If there is anything wrong with hetu, then also inference will be wrong. And if there is anything wrong with vyapti, of course, vyapti itself is based on hetu and this hetu and paksh as well as साध्य. साध्य तो हम प्रूव कर रहे हैं, साध्य पे तो कुछ हो ही नहीं सकता. If vyapti is also wrong, then also the inference is wrong. This means we have to check whether vyapti is correct. vyapti हमने समझ ली कैसे correct होती है. 6 conditions they have to fulfill. We have done that. Now we will be checking what? Hetu. And we will be checking paksh along with hetu. ये एक ही है. इस अगर यहाँ पे कोई गड़बड़ होती है हम उसको कह देते हैं हेत्वाभास. हेत्वाभास means invalid hetu. बिकॉज हेतु मस्ट बी, जो भी पक्ष के भी प्रॉब्लम्स है वो हमने हेतु के साथ ही कॉन्जॉइन कर ली। ठीक है, व्याप्ति करेक्ट है या नहीं हम देख रहे हैं। दूसरा हम क्या देख रहे हैं, अब ये हेतु और पक्ष ठीक है कि नहीं। अगर यहाँ पे भी कोई गड़बड़ हमें मिली, inference becomes wrong. In other manner, inference is dependent on vyapti. Vyapti is dependent on hetu, isn't it? vyapti किस चीज पे डिपेंडेंट है? Can you form any vyapti if you don't see smoke? You can write it that way, you can write it this way. It doesn't, it's all the same, just the way of representation is different, nothing else. So we have checked vyapti. Now we are going a level deeper, hetu. Fine. Now come to your notes. हाँ, okay. हेतु करें. What is the other names for hetu? Who will tell me? Raise your hands. What are the other names for hetu? Middle term. हाँ. Mark. Sign. Okay, good. Reason. Another word is reason. Okay. It is the nerve center of inference. And if reason is invalid, basically it is the nerve center of not just inference, but vyapti also. Vyapti is the nerve center of inference and hetu is the nerve center of vyapti. If reason is invalid, reason matlab if hetu is invalid or fallacious, the inference also becomes invalid or fallacious. Validity of hetu is therefore very important to establish validity of inference. मतलब यह सेंटेंस देख लेना अपने हिसाब से, बात समझ में आ गई? So let us see what are the 5 characteristics of valid hetu. If hetu has to be valid, अब जब भी मैं हेतु बोल रही हूं क्या दिमाग में आना चाहिए? Smoke. If it has to be valid, then what are the 5 characteristics? First, paksh-dharmata. Paksh-dharmata means it should be present on paksh or hill. Smoke यहाँ पे हिल से निकल रही है या इसके पीछे एक, वैसे तो कहीं से भी निकले लेकिन स्टिल देयर विल बी फायर, बट लेकिन हमारी स्टेटमेंट गलत हो जाएगी. देयर इज फायर ऑन हिल अगर यहाँ पे हट से निकल रही है. अब स्मोक निकल रही थी हट से, ठीक है, आपने बोला देयर इज, और आपने क्या इन्फ्रेंस निकाल दिया देयर इज. रॉन्ग हो गया इन्फ्रेंस. क्यों गलत हो गया? Because hetu means smoke was not present in paksh. Problem. So we must ascertain, we must be sure that the smoke must be present on paksh. This is known as paksh dharmata. First condition for valid hetu. Second condition is sapaksh satva. Sapaksh means all the positive instances. Hetu must be present in all the instances where fire is present. Wherever you see fire, wherever you see smoke, it must be accompanied by fire. There you must find fire. Sapaksh. Example, in kitchen you find smoke. न्याय के टाइम पे हाँ मिलेगा ना. अच्छा फिर किसने बोला? अच्छा, पीछे से कोई बोला और मेरे को यहाँ से आवाज आई लेकिन पीछे से कोई बोला, हाँ और आखिरी तक पहुंच जाएंगे तभी पीछे से कोई बोला. Okay, fine. So sapaksh means smoke must be present in kitchen where वहां पे स्मोक थी तो वहां पे क्या मिला हमें? Simple. Sapaksh. Wherever you find smoke, you also find fire. ठीक है? सापक. ये वही है पुरानी बात. Agreement in presence. वही चीज है. But now we are doing it in the respect of hetu. The same thing again. Different name just because it is in relation to hetu. Second, विपक्ष तत्व. जहां पे फायर नहीं होगी वहां पे स्मोक. एग्जाम्पल, लेक. In lake there is no fire, therefore there must not be any smoke. Fog smoke नहीं होती, उनको इतनी अकल थी. Fog is not smoke. Smoke is very different. Okay. Then abadit. Abadit means that hetu must not be incompatible with the paksh. Now hetu must not prove the coolness of fire. अभी जब हम आगे एग्जाम्पल हेत्वाभास करेंगे ना, वहां पे ये बात समझ में आ जाएगी. अभी के लिए we must understand that the paksh and hetu must be compatible in nature. मैंने बोला ग्लेशियर में आग लग गई या पानी में आग लग गई. हाँ, बॉलीवुड में लगती है, असलियत में. या फिर मैंने बोला बर्फ में आग लग गई. So there is so मैंने देखा, so somebody said there is smoke on ice and I said there is fire on ice. Fire on ice, isn't it incompatible? Hetu means this, hetu means smoke is incompatible with paksh because smoke is associated with fire but ice doesn't go with fire. Incompatible हो गया. जो एरिया है जहां पर से हम स्मोक देख रहे हैं, जहां पे हमें फायर प्रूव करनी है, that is incompatible. Incompatible to the nature, अबाधित. This concept is known as अबाधित. अब देखो, why have they done it? Now somebody comes and they are making their argument. They will prove the incompatible nature of their two arguments. They will say that this cannot be in this because it is incompatible. Now all these arguments they are using now, they are using it in different domains. But before they use it in different domains, they are using it here to establish their Nyaya epistemology. Can you understand this? Okay. Abadhit. Then last is avirudh. Hetu must not be counted by other reason that is there, should not be. क्या लिखा है ये? Hetu must not be counted by other reason. There should not be contradictory conclusion. Basically, simply लिख लो. Hetu must not be countered by other reason which gives contradictory conclusion. Which gives contradictory conclusion. Example. अरे लिखा हुआ है हेतु must not be countered by other reason which gives contradictory conclusion. Example. Example ठीक है. The fact of being caused should not be used to prove eternality of sound. ये भी हमें तब समझ में आएगा जब हम हेत्वाभास करेंगे, बट अभी के लिए if by one statement you say that sound is produced, and by another statement you prove, or another inference you try to prove that sound is eternal, what will be the problem? Contradictory. By one inference you are proving that sound is caused means produced, something which is produced. Can it be eternal? Because eternal means something which is neither produced nor destroyed. दोनों अपने आप में contradictory हो गई बातें, because the both the statements are contradictory. This means that your reason, or your reason to be valid, this hetu should not be contradicted by another inference on hetu. ये contradictory नहीं होना चाहिए, because if it is contradictory, किसकी बात मानोगे? Because reason is again unknown, na? Inference means moving from known to unknown. What we know? Only smoke. And what we are making inference of? Fire, which we have not seen. We are just assuming that because we have seen smoke, and because smoke is invariably associated with fire, therefore there must be. This is the assumption. And assumptions, to be correct, they must be based on strong basis, strong evidences. That's समझ में आ रही है बात? That is why Nyaya is making their inference foolproof, so that no mistake happens in their inference. Aviruddh is like व्यभिचार ग्रह? No, absolutely not. Vyabhichar grah is there. Now you will, so don't mix concepts. If you mix concepts, it will become very confusing for you people. That is the concept for Vyapti. Here we are talking about Hetu. Don't mix it. Fire must be present in all instances where Hetu is present. Smoke must be present in kitchen where fire. There, ये लोग क्या लिखे हैं? Fire must be present in kitchen where smoke exists. Interchange कर लो, है ना? दोनों में interchange कर लो. ये smoke and fire हमेशा आगड़े बागड़े हो जाता है. कॉन्सेप्ट तो समझ में आ गया. अब एक काम करो, एक सेकंड, अब मैं देख ही लेती हूँ तुम लोग जब इतना कर रहे हो तो. हाँ, तुम्हें क्या प्रॉब्लम थी? क्या कह रहे थे तुम? तुम्हें अलग नोट्स मिले क्या? Fire must be present in the kitchen where smoke exists. इसे चेंज कर लो. सुनो, जहां पे सापक्ष सत्व में हेतु लिखा है वहां साध्य लिख लो, जहां साध्य लिखा है वहां पे हेतु लिख लो. जहां स्मोक लिखा है वहां फायर लिख लो, जहां फायर लिखा है वहां पे स्मोक लिख लो. सापक्ष सत्व में. So fire must be present where smoke exist. When we are talking when we are talking about must present, then we are talking about thing that we have to prove. अविरुद्ध, अविरुद्ध है ना. So avirudh means that by looking at the same hetu, sometimes we can reach different conclusions, but we have to understand that these conclusions must not be contradictory to each other. If they are contradictory, then the hetu is not valid. Example, smoke. अभी इसमें smoke का नहीं fit होएगा, वैसे यहाँ पे sound fit होएगा, है ना. The example is of sound. So if a person says the sound is produced because it is non-eternal, and the other what do you say, other vyapti that is formed is that sound is eternal because it cannot be produced. Now the same thing we are talking in two different ways, and the moment this will happen, this is a contradiction. This means what is fallacious, what is where the problem is lying, the hetu. वहां पे कुछ गड़बड़ है. We are having some problem in hetu, because if hetu would have been valid, then there is no point of having two contradictory conclusions or two contradictory inferences. Simple. This will become, I told you now, abadhat and avirudh will come again. It will become clear when we will do hetu abhas. Okay. What are the 5 characteristics of valid hetu? Raise your hand without looking. कौन बताएगा? It's not complex. It's very easy. You people have, actually रिवाइज करके नहीं आए होंगे. रिवाइज किया ना. If you have clear understanding of vyapti na, it's not a difficult thing. And even if you are finding it difficult na, just go back today. Just sit, take one example, but don't change the example. Take the same example and apply logic. You will reach to the same conclusion. Yes, logical. You will have to use your logic actually to understand what these people are talking about. You cannot just let your mind be free. They will utilize it fully. न्याय को समझने के लिए लॉजिक जरूरी है. ठीक है? ओके. बताओ, रेज योर हैंड्स. पक्ष धर्मता.
जो हमने एज्यूम किया है कि जो हेतु है वो पक्ष नहीं होना चाहिए, हमारा एजम्पशन ऑफ नहीं होना.
बिल्कुल. हाँ.
दूसरा है स्थापक. फायर जहाँ भी होगी वहाँ हेतु होना, मतलब फायर जहाँ भी होगी वहाँ स्मोक होनी चाहिए.
बिल्कुल नहीं, जहाँ स्मोक है वहां फायर होनी चाहिए. विपक्ष सत्य. जहां वहां पे उल्टा कर देंगे. देखो यहाँ पे उल्टा कर देंगे. जहां हाँ ठीक है. फिर अबाधित. पक्ष, हेतु एंड पक्ष should be compatible. Yes, last, अविरुद्ध. Perfect. Very good. ये लिखना है. Question आता है direct. What is हेतु? How can we prove valid hetu? And what are fallacious hetu? Khatam question. Do we have the PYQs? वो करेंगे आखिरी में करेंगे ना, आप बीच में क्यों करेंगे, है ना? PYQs है, लगाओ. क्वेश्चन आता है डायरेक्ट, तो डायरेक्ट लिखना है 5 characteristics of valid हेतु and what are fallacious हेतु. fallacious हेतु हम करेंगे, लेकिन मुझे लग रहा है कि तुम लोग आज स्थिति में हो नहीं fallacious हेतु करने के. Because people who find this confusing, they will find fallacious hetu hetuvabhas more confusing, because that is talking about all the conditions in which the hetu can be invalid. Acha. Acha. See this question. Elucidate Nyayika's account of the fallacies of middle term. Of course, fallacies we will do. Hetavabhas. What are the characteristics of a valid middle term? Can you write this? What are the characteristics of valid middle term? Difficult? Direct question. Huh? हाँ. So 2023 का question बताओ. Elucidate Nyayika's view of ordinary and extraordinary perception. Discuss whether they are justified in accepting universals are perceived. किस पे है question? लिखा मुश्किल है क्या? You can write. All of you can write. पढ़ लो question, पढ़ लो. Sure? ठीक है. सेकंड अभी हमने किया नहीं है, ठीक है. So many times UPSC, तुम्हें क्या लग रहा है हम इतना टाइम क्यों लगा रहे हैं न्याय में? खैर इस साल नहीं आएंगे ये 5 क्वेश्चन, इस साल 2 ही आएंगे. But still, you know, Buddhism, Nyaya and Vedanta are schools which become, UPSC's favorite anytime, because Buddhism is vast and confusing. Nyaya is logical and therefore confusing, and Vedanta is at the level of understanding it is complex, है ना? That is why these 3. जैन में क्या पूछ लेंगे वो? What can they ask? Can they ask any difficult question? Everything is simple. Charvak. Sankhya, can they ask anything difficult in Sankhya? At most, if they want to make it very, very complex, they will talk about Purush as transcendental reality and Sapadik Purush. Apart from that, is there any confusion? Yoga philosophy? Only flowcharts? That's factual. This means only place they can actually test you is Buddhism, Nyaya and Vedanta. Even Vaisheshika is also simple, and this Mimamsa is also very simple. Okay, coming back. ये सब वैशेषिका का पार्ट है. How Nyayikas respond? You will write about inference. ये सब अनुमान ही तो पढ़ रहे हैं. Inference क्यों valid है, कैसे बनेगा, व्याप्ति कैसे बने, all these things you can write here. This is talking about असत्कार्यवाद. ये हम कल करेंगे. अन्यथा खाती मीन्स थ्योरी ऑफ इल्यूजन. किसके बारे में बात हो रही है यहाँ पे? थ्योरी ऑफ ज्ञान लक्षण क्या था? व्हाट इज ज्ञान लक्षण? एक्स्ट्रा ऑर्डिनरी परसेप्शन वेयर देयर वॉज. यस, वेरी गुड, है ना. अभी जब हम लास्ट में करेंगे तब हम इसको देख लेंगे. बट कैन यू सी द टाइप ऑफ क्वेश्चंस दैट आर आस्क्ड? If you read it properly, then it is not. But if you don't revise, you will not be able to write a single word. It needs revision because you need to revise and learn the terms. How to compare Vyapti with others. What others? Can we use Vedanta and Buddhism? मैं समझ नहीं पाई. बेटा व्याप्ति is only for inference. Whoever has accepted inference will be accepting व्याप्ति. Whatever the school, कोई सा भी स्कूल हो, उसमें अगर उन्होंने इन्फ्रेंस को एक्सेप्ट किया है तो व्याप्ति भी एक्सेप्ट करी होगी. सिंपल. Yes, Vyapti is the base for inference. Ma'am, Buddhism was not confusing. Buddhism is, Nyaya is also not confusing. It's very easy. It is only confusing because it is, you know, it is testing you. It's making you open a window of your brain. And it's just making you have never thought in this manner. And because you have never thought it, that is why you feel it is confusing. But once that window is open, it will be easy. Yes, alternate thinking. This is known as alternate thinking. You know, when you, how many of you know what is alternate thinking is? Alternate thinking. Okay, so there is this people who want to raise their IQs and people who want to do some creativity workshops and all. So they make you think in alternate ways and the same concept. In how many ways you can think it? In that sense, what is Nyaya doing? The same statement, the same Vyapti. They are just trying to prove in how many ways we can prove it. How many different ways we can think about it. So it is just that thing, alternate ways. Can we prove it through Anvay? Yes. Can we prove it through Vyatireki? Can we prove it through any alternate contrary instance Vyabhichar Graha? Yes. Can we prove it through some condition is to understand whether it is conditional or unconditional? Upadhini Ras. Can we know it through Tark? Can we logically reason it to prove it right or wrong? And last, can we use the knowledge of universal? Saman. So basically, same statement, same concept. We are just trying different ways. Alternate thinking. ये creativity workshop में पैसे लेके सिखाते हैं, लेकिन न्याय हमें, लेकिन अभी जब हम इसको पढ़ रहे हैं हमें बोरिंग लग रहा है ना? लेकिन अगर आप इसका import बाद में अपनी लाइफ में देखोगे, you will understand better. Okay, bye bye.